Greetings and salutations, Dota fans, and welcome to Season 10 of League of Lads. My name is Badger. I'm joined by the one, the only, Season 8 League of Lads champion, 8K, or maybe former 8K, middle laner extraordinaire, ColonelSquid. How are you today?
How's it going, Badger? Definitely former 8K at this point.
What can you do?
What can you do? Okay.
We are here, though, for
Um,
some Season 10 of Lads. Please ignore that the ticket says the weekend of Lads. Trust me, I am aware that it says that. We don't have the season 10 ticket yet. Cough, cough, Guam. I digress. What we do have, though, is a series between Boss Up on the Radiant team and Bloosher Revamp on the Dire team. And I know for me and you, we're probably both more familiar with this Dire side team. A number of lads veterans, but also a number of lads adjacent players that have played in other amateur leagues, and they're all coming together for this. What I'm assuming is a friend stack here.
yeah, I've definitely more familiar with the Dire players. I think I think Yeti and Jay are probably the last veterans. But I know Buying Onions, Pisha, and Adriel are all very well known in the RD12 and possibly other communities as well. I'm not sure, but on the side of the Boss Up team, the only people I recognize as former Lats players are Bloom and Zexy.
I
I think.
believe Killjoy has played as well on one of the MD12 Rejects
Hmm.
teams, I think.
That sounds correct, actually. That sounds correct. And already into it. Pretty normal bans. I would say all of the four heroes that were banned are in the top 10 meta picks. I would say at least maybe top 15. I don't think Grim is super high value, but a lot of teams are picking it up usually in the second phase. Nice value support. And yeah, Io is always was super popular at the major. I actually don't think he was that too much attention was point to him towards the later stage, but I know at least in the earlier phase of the major, there's a lot of Io first phase picks and first phase bans.
There's always a certain level of mystery regarding the IO and Lads. There's not that many IO players in Lads, but lo and behold, we have some fresh blood, and now it is IO being selected in the first phase, 5 pick overall here.
Yeah, I've always been a little bit hesitant to pick IO and lads because at least my understanding is that IO is a hero that lets you take your map presence and map movements to the next level. And I think that to be able to do that, your map movement and map presence has to be at a certain level. And if it's not there, then the IO can kind of fall flat because you're not utilizing it to the best of what the hero can do. So I would much rather just focus on getting a good just gameplay of map movement before taking it out. But that being said, Radiant so far in these opening two picks have a very global presence, which while IO might be a little tricky to execute, it's not that tricky if you just pick up like a stun and then rift and relocate the entire team onto the hero being gone on. So we'll see if we see some of that.
It's always fun seeing this
Uh,
Underlord pick as well. I mean, I remember when the patch came out and the rework happened, people were saying, "Oh, Underlord's terrible," but he has aged like a fine wine. We're seeing a lot of value with this Underlord pick, so I'm curious to see how well executed this global strat goes from Boss Up.
yeah, I think people have understood the power of having almost like a checkpoint that you can set up for whether it be connecting to ganks and then going back almost like a longer version of Spectre's ult, or almost a free trip back to base like an X-Men TP. It's a the skill has become a lot more versatile compared to the old Underlord ult. Um, and I think teams are figuring out how many situations it can be used in and using that to their advantage. Uh, as for second phase bans, pretty standard, I would say. Not too surprising seeing the Ursa Band to protect the Underlord's lane, and then both Timber and Mars. Timber because you pick 2 strength heroes, and then Mars because IO's really hates seeing Mars because you kind of have no answer to being in that arena. You're kind of just trapped. And on the side of Dire, I think both Puck and Lesh are lane and game protect bans for the Storm because obviously a Coil or a Yules from the Leshrac can set up a kill onto the Storm. Not sure about the Razor Band. It is a strong hero. I don't know if it's if there's a person on the Radiant that is a proficient Razor player, or if they plan to pick a sort of hero very punished, who can be punished by the Razor. Maybe something like a Wraith King or even something like a Jug. Maybe Dusa.
Do have a Pangolier selection for now, though, which is always. This is not really deadly sort of kill combination we're getting put together here on this Radiant team. I mean, one more hero with the relocate, and we're in for some real kind of pick off with Pangolier, eviscerate a hero in 1 second type situation.
Yeah, I definitely like this Pango pick. It's a pretty nice Pango game so far. I also think Bane is super good with like if you are trying to set up kills around the map, Bane is one of the best supports to set up kills because between your Nightmare and your Grip, you have something like 10 seconds, maybe even longer, of disable on a single target, which gives plenty of time for a relocate in or an Underworld ulti in or a bot's Pango to respond. So I think Team Secret was one of the, or not Secret, Team Spirit was one of the teams who would run this Bane IO support duo a lot and find great success with it.
Obviously, there have been nerfs to both of those heroes, but the concept still stays as it is. Where it's like, hey, you still provide a great sort of. I mean, I know saying supportive support is kind of an oxymoron, but it's true. They're very supportive supports.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that is. I like this Night Stalker pick. I think that a lot of these Dire heroes really thrive in fights when they have the vision advantage. I think both your Storm and Shaman being able to see everything and choose exactly when they want to either blink Hex or zip in is really helpful. It also helps the Storm because at the moment before they pick the Night Stalker, if Storm in his BKB got gripped, it would be a little bit difficult to reach the Bane. They have um, a lot of ways to stop heroes from getting onto the Bane with Roll and Root from Underlord. So I think it's a nice kind of answer to the Bane. The one issue is that if Night Stalker is not in his BKB, it can be really hard to move throughout fights because Pango in his role and the Underlord Root plus Atos into Root again combo is really annoying for that hero. So to see how each team rounds up the draft.
And at this point, it's what can we do as like the sort of ideal IO pairing carry? And for now, Bloosher revamped, banned out the Deuce. You were mentioning Deuce. It seems like you're on the same wavelength in terms of banning out that carry, but there's still a number of good IO pairing carries. What about Tiny? I mean, obviously earlier in the patch we saw tons and tons of Tiny. Is like an IO Tiny situation viable here?
I would not mind Tiny at all for Radiant. I think that it can actually man up against a Night Stalker at nighttime, which not a lot of heroes can do confidently. It also, picking up a Blink Dagger, you can easily 100 to 0 either the Shaman, Snapfire, and possibly even the Storm. And yeah, they pick it up here. I'm not surprised by that at all. It looked like a really nice Tiny game. Yeah, I think if I am Bloosher revamped. What hero am I picking for Ice Yeti? Um, Ice Yeti has been favoring the Weaver recently. It looks like a little bit of a tough Weaver game, but I think it's definitely still pickable. I think you could also go for something like the Phantom Assassin and really jump on the backline of Bane and Io. Something else you could consider is maybe something with more kite, like a Clinks.
They
Here
opted for
goes
the
the
Luna
Luna.
instead. Interesting.
I don't know how much I like that Luna. I think
We haven't
that,
seen that much Luna for a reason. But apparently Ice Yeti says,
yeah.
you know what? The heroes I want are banned out, perhaps. Let's go for the Luna.
Something that Luna does do is it gives you both. If the game state is very very stagnant, you can get a lot of a net worth advantage, and you can actually keep up with the tiny because not a lot of heroes have the ability to farm ancients super early. Tiny is one of the few heroes. Luna is another one of those heroes who you get the max glaives and you can farm really, really fast. And so I would bet their idea is to sort of have this hero who can keep on pace with the tiny and keep up in items. But another nice thing is you do have night vision, so if you're separated from the Night Stalker in fights, oftentimes you're going to be fighting in nighttime, and so you'll have that vision advantage. Um, but I don't know, it does give them tower push, which they definitely lacked. Really only having Shaman for that. But I think I favor, just on paper, I think I favor Radiance Draft. I think it's easier to execute.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with you on this one. I think it's very even, but if I had to give an edge to either team, I'd give it to the Radiant draft. It's like a hard to play Luna game. While Radiant can just kind of run their draft, and if they play equally as well as Dire, I think they're just going to win.
Yeah, because it like all the cores on Dire seem like they have like it doesn't feel great to be that. Like if you're Storm, you don't love the fact that you can get chain stunned by a Pango roll or perma rooted by Underlord or gripped by Bane. Or if you're this Luna who can hit a really nice BKB timing if you go something like Treads, Dragonlance, then disassembling it and getting something like a 14-minute BKB. In a lot of games, that can be super, super oppressive, where the enemy team kind of has no answers for you and you can farm wherever, but A, they have grip, and B, they have this tiny who's going to just do overwhelming physical damage. And Luna is not known for tankiness, at least early on, only having a 2.2 strength gain, which is not that high.
We are seeing a lot of wards and sentries being placed pre-horn today. All 4 obs already placed. I think it's 3 sentries also placed. I love Dota 2, man. This is the sort of thing you
Little,
see out of Pro Dota, not Lads Dota. I'd love to see this.
yeah. Wait, where did Radiant put their second eyes?
Correction, they have... I missed the 4th obs, my bad. I mixed up this sentry with an obs for some reason, my bad. My bad.
That's fine.
Actually,
Seems
where
that
is the obs? Is it
Bane
in...
has it.
Okay, it's still in Bane's inventory.
Yeah, I think that's fine. Um, Honestly, this mid lane matchup, I have I play both of these heroes quite a bit, and I have heard that a lot of mid laners favor the Storm in this matchup, but I prefer to play the Pango, and
Really?
so that is just my personal preference. I don't know if it's I'm just more comfortable on the Pango or what, but I I find this matchup to be slightly Pango favored, but I know that is not the experience of a lot of mid laners.
Seems like Storm just is going to be a real big small camp enjoyer this game, and then eventually, I guess, get a lot of levels. But I guess that's a lot of mid nowadays, unless you have like a huge outskill.
Maybe not this game because his small camp is locked.
That's okay. There's an enemy side small camp. Just walk on
This is
over to
true.
the enemy small camp.
This is true.
How can that possibly backfire?
Yeah. I think Radiance lanes are also much stronger. I think usually the Shaman's a pretty strong laner, but this Night Stalker is like the Night Stalker Shaman duo is definitely not stronger than the Bane Tiny. You also have some potential for outplays with toss back to tower, which can be super deadly for a hero like Shaman.
And as it currently stands, until minute 5, Jay is not going to be too powerful on the Night Stalker. We're seeing top lane IO Underlord playing very aggressively right now. They're sitting under the tier 1 tower knowing how strong they are.
Yeah, this is another reason I wasn't too big a fan of the Luna. Is like usually Luna is like super oppressive, and maybe it's a reason they picked it, but Underlord with his aura is really good at out CSing an enemy, and so oftentimes I find it's just better to pick a hero to zone the Underlord off the wave rather than actually try to contest CS with them, because Luna usually does well in lane because of her aura, and that's kind of because she has to. And when you're against this Underlord, which right now has 20 damage on you, it can be really hard to like just function. And we'll see how the CS continues, but I expect Yeti to get quite heavily out CS'd just based on the Underlord aura alone.
So far, it's not great, and it probably won't be getting better for a very long time.
Yeah, getting doubled up right now. 8-1 to 16-2. The true double up.
So far, I mean, the CS is good top lane for Radiant, and so are the trades. HPY is this IO combination with the headdress. It's just... They just keep winning these trades at Agile and Ice Yeti, and... Well, I guess it is Luna, a hero who does recover relatively well in the jungle, but the question is how much map space can you have at a certain point? Because obviously Storm's going to want a jungle, Luna's going to want a jungle. Will there be enough map for Dire to even recover from the lanes here?
Oh, that feels bad. Using your Lucent Beam for the range creep and not even getting it.
Oh,
yeah, and
no.
a lot of there's a lot of typical, quote unquote typical offlane counterparts with the IO. Some that come to mind are like Mars or even Night Stalker to some extent. But honestly, Underlord is a super good combo because of how much damage you get. The attack speed that you get is so value. You can absolutely shred the Snapfire like we just saw, forcing him to use the salve on himself.
That's a pretty good escape from Agile, actually getting away from the gank over the cliff. Saved his life from that first blood.
Yeah. Over to mid lane, it's pretty even with the Pango taking a slight lead in denies. I think Storm hurting a little bit from the small camp being blocked, can't accelerate. He has a sentry, but... Oh.
I missed the first blood of the season, might be. Bottom lane, the Tiny Bane combination, they brought down the Shadow Shaman, and he was playing fairly up in the lane for a very long time, so it's not too shocking, but it was going to happen eventually, we knew that much.
Yeah, it's just so overwhelming, the damage coming up from these two heroes. There's very few lanes that can stand toe-to-toe with these two heroes, and a Night Stalker plus anything is probably not going to be strong enough.
We didn't mention that. This is I probably should have caught that, but alas, I did not catch it.
It's okay. Easing into the season, you know? Just sticking your toes in the water.
Nowhere to go up.
Exactly.
Top lane, speaking of things that are going up, it is Agile being run down by Zexy and Rose Golden, though the damage will not quite be high enough yet. They'll be back, though. They'll be back.
Yeah, and I mean, Yeti is still suffering in terms of CS. This Underlord has treads flying out while Yeti just got his brown boots delivered.
That's bad.
Yeah. Not exactly where you want to be.
It is
mid-lane?
nighttime, though. It's time to be free. Oh, mid lane? Oh, never mind. I thought something happened mid lane.
No, sorry. I was just gonna... Yeah, I think it's kind of a firm trade, and I think you're definitely happier with this as Pango. If Storm ever steps too far out and gets caught in the middle of the lane, he can definitely die to a well-timed roll. So we'll see if Pisha goes, or if Turtle goes for any of those plays.
We're seeing a lot of heroes rotate towards the middle lane. There's currently 5 heroes in the vicinity. So Pistia will ball lightning back to the high ground. He'll be fine. No real danger in that case.
Yep, this is the what a lot of pro Dota has become, with a little bit of a go from the Storm.
Yeah, it's Storm going in on Bane as Tiny's getting run down bottom lane. It's Bane that dies in the river, however. Tiny will survive. Jay could not finish that kill. Back to the top lane instead, it's Zexy again zoning away Ice Yeti. So a bit of action across the map, but it's only 1 death on Bane there.
I think 6 heroes mid at 6 minutes is kind of become the meta, at least from what I've experienced. It is not too shocking a sight to see both supports rotate for each of the runes to secure them. I think people have learned exactly how valuable the power runes are for each team, because they can completely turn the tide of an engagement. A Storm with haste, DD, Arcane, Pango with haste, DD, Arcane can really turn a fight one way or the other. And a little bit of a go top
There's
lane.
multiple going on. 1 bottom, 1 top. Bottom, Shaman dies. Look over the top. It's Luna being built over the tower by 3. Turtle is rolling. Ice Yeti inevitably will drop eventually, and it will die to Turtle with the roll damage. So 2 kills across the map for the side. A boss up, and they are surprisingly owning these fights in the nighttime, where you'd expect, Nightstar gets stronger, Luna gets stronger, and yet Radiant is still winning the fights.
Yeah. I think Night Stalker doesn't really want to be activated yet, is the thing. He is right now he's allowed to farm, and I think he did not have a great first little bit of the lane, and he's catching up now, and I think he doesn't even have his full phase boots yet. I think he's at least waiting for that before he starts keeping into fights. But the downside is he also really can't pressure this Tiny. Tiny does not really feel that threatened by him, and he can actually just trade with him just fine like that. And actually forces Jay to run away. Oh, rotation from
the
Storm.
Dire jungle, meanwhile, it's also Snapfire being gone on. Storm is still bottom lane ganking Tiny. Tiny is dead. Back to the jungle. Somehow Agile gets away from 3 ganking Radiant heroes. So it's very good for the Dire. They did not die, though they did lose their stack. And they brought down Tiny.
A little bit of an interesting item build from the Pangolier. From what I've seen, the sort of quote-unquote usual build has been this, your usual bottle, wand, rain, and you usually go corrosion, brown boots, diffusal, and then finish your mana boots. But he opts to go for the mana boots first, and Swash misses onto Yeti.
Yeti's still in danger, however. The roll, the IO rotation. I don't think he gets out. Jay has ascended. He wants to get at least some vengeance. He's running at Zexy in the pits, but the Underlord is very tanky. In comes Pistia. Medium range ball on Underlord. Cookie in. Stunning Underlord. IO is healing, but it's not enough heal now. They run towards the IO, who's full HP, full mana, has Tether in 5. But can he live for 5? The answer appears to be no. 2 kills for the side of the Dire. 1 going to Pistia. And now, look for a 3rd kill on Turtle, but he has Fluffbuckle away. I don't believe the Pangolier will die there, but it's still a lot of signs of life from Team Bloosher Reborn.
Those are some much-needed kills. They activated their Night Stalker with the Dark Ascension. Unfortunately, it's now daytime, and they use Dark Ascension, so he's going to be deactivated for quite a while. But speaking of activation, this Arcane Rune can definitely sort of bolster your Storm's ability to be aggressive.
Only problem, he is completely... Wait, he is Shaman giving him mangoes. He is getting mana back. They actually want the fight, perhaps, to defend their
Mango
team
delivery service. He has to be careful not to get gripped, because Bane just took the tome to get 6. And they're not super... This Night Stalker's seeping in, but he has no ultimate.
He's gripped
He's just going to get gripped.
Half HP, gripped as the top of the roll. He's still going. Buying Onions tried to cancel the grip, but it did not work, but Jay remains alive. Shaman, with the first death. In comes Pistia, Bali in for Zexy. Arcane Runes now active. but he's only half mana. He slept and he must now back off. So only Shaman dies. The tower dies to the siege unit as well. So Radiant, that's a big win right there.
Huge win. Little bit of an interesting TP from Jay, kind of just putting his body on the front lines. He does tank the grip for his Storm Spirit, arguably, but then the Shaman, in an attempt to cancel the grip, he gets caught out right here by the Pango roll and is just super out of position and gets cleaned up. So, don't know if that was quite what they had in mind when trying to defend the tier 1 mid.
Sure, it wasn't, but at certain points, like, you know, you gotta save your body sometimes, and unfortunately, saving your body sometimes kills you. And I mean, I guess you are a shaman.
Mm-hmm.
Not the biggest stat in the world.
Yeah, I almost feel like Jay was trying to use his body as his resource because it's a Night Stalker during daytime with no Dark Ascension. His kind of only use is as a meat shield, and so I think if in that fight they had kind of just accepted that he was going to get gripped and then took the fight, because he didn't even die in the grip, and took the fight normally afterwards, I think it could have gone a lot better for them, especially with the Storm Arcane, but alas, as the phrase goes, what can you do?
Maybe the read was, maybe he'll die during grip. Turns out he didn't. He's very tanky. Despite only having 1200 HP, less than that at the time, it's still a very tanky hero with armor.
Interesting item build, going for the Midas. This is a little bit of an interesting build. Definitely shows he wants to play for a later timing, looking for that BKB +1 item, whether it's BKB Blink, BKB plus something like a Basher maybe, and to help him man up on the Pango during roll. Atos completed on the Underlord. That is a really big pickup because it lets you catch out the Storm quite easily.
Speaking of Storm, ball in on Underlord. In comes the roll. In comes World's Kisses. Wards are dropped. Grip is there on Jay. Zexy low. Jay low. Io healing Tishia. Look at the kill on Underlord. Now they move to Killjoy and Rose Golden. Rose Golden dead. Nightmare has been cycled, but Killjoy still goes down. The trade will be for Jay, but it's a 3-for-1 so far. Turtle and Bloom. Looks out as the fight. The long toss in brings down Pistia, and now they move to Agile. He's slowed by Shield Crash. He's slowed by Diffusal. He'll be brought to the grave. It ends up being a 3-for-3 trade. And what a fantastic toss from Bloom there.
That truly was. I want to say that he actually got the point in toss from killing the Night Stalker. It leveled him up to level 10, and he put a point in his toss, because before that, he was 404. And, I mean, the toss was perfectly timed, because if the Storm zips after the toss, I don't think they have enough chase for the kill. Pango was completely out of mana, and Storm had enough to make some distance, so a huge turnaround from the Radiant, which started from a little bit of a weird engagement. Your Underlord got silenced in Mortimer's Kisses, and you weren't looking the greatest, but able to turn it around with some clutch plays from Tiny and Pangolier.
We're at the point now where Radiants still maintain a fairly large gold lead. Team Bloosher Reborn probably need that fight win for their game state, but now the game state's just pretty bad. Do Radiant look at Roshan at this point? Do they try to play into the dire side jungle? What's their play here?
I think their play is on Jay at top lane right now.
I guess so. I mean, they're running at him with 3, and they bring him down quite easily.
That was a little bit of a joke, but in the greater sense, I think they're looking to get this top tier 2. It does feel a little weird now that it's nighttime, but I think it can be hard to control Roche against the dire heroes. I think they have a lot of good heroes around the Roche pit. Night Stalker, Storm, Snapfire, even something like an Eclipse or a Snake Wars can be really hard to Roche, so it might be easier if they chip the tier 2 once the Tiny finishes his Moonshard.
I mean, it is the point where we're at, where Tiny has the shard and the Moon Shard. He's spotted away from the other shard. I mean, he has the shard combination in that point.
Bottom lane, looking for a grip onto Yeti with the relocate.
Yeah, it will be a death on Luna, almost assuredly. He's not quite dead yet, but the roll is committed. The Luna really has no outs. Doesn't even have a TP to TP away, so that's a death there. Though the trade is for Zexy. in the dire side jungle. They went on with Agile, buying against Pistia, and now it's Jay ascending for more kills. Turtle has returned with his eye to the top lane. Turtle is low, and Turtle will go down eventually. They see him, they kill him. Io will keep you away in the periphery of the fight, but still, it is a 2-for-1. Sure, Radiant got the kill on the Luna, but it was in exchange for 2 cores, and the Dire regained control of their jungle from that.
I think that was a big swing for the Dire. Get the catch with the Shaman up to the Underlord mid lane, follow up with the Storm Spirit. Luna does die, but she claims the tier 1 bottom, which they were really looking for to sort of open up the bottom jungle for Luna to farm. And on the pullback from the relocate, they are able to claim the Pangler, who is still the top net worth hero, but a huge kill. And really going to help this. The Night Stalker gets a BKB, and they're going to pick up Roche off of it with the Shaman Warriors. So the last minute has been very, very good for the Dire. Storm almost at BKB, Night Stalker working on it, and Luna working on it. They're going to hit a triple BKB timing in around 20-22 minutes. And look to take commanding advantage of the game from there.
Now if you're Radiance, you almost want to do something recorded by the BKBs, but if you want to fight before they have BKBs, they will have Aegis, so there's really no great opportunity to go for the fight anymore.
Yeah, I do think they have really good heroes to punish an Aegis. I think that with even as an Aegis on Storm, you have to be really careful to not die twice. If you die your first life, even with BKB, to something like a perma root from Underlord, and then just get gripped your second life, it can feel really, really bad. So I'm hoping that the Aegis doesn't prompt them to take sort of super risky fights. I think you can play somewhat aggressive, but
all in middle lane, Morbr's Kisses used. Io is healing with the mech. Actually will be enough. Buying Onions just dies to Xexy's Firestorm damage. Underlord is completely fine to roll in for Agile. Slowed by Diffusal, turn up will turn back into Agile. It's both Dire side supports dead, and well, you have the Aegis, but now you're missing 2 heroes, and Jay's fine. Jay, they know Jay's there, but Jay's fine.
Yeah. Storm super close to his BKB. If the Underlord just ran down, they might have been able to catch him a little bit. Night Stalker.
He is hasted and can ascend when required. Turtle has disarmed him, but he is in the trees juking. They have not pinned him down, but they're chasing for him. Grip is up, but Bane cannot cast spells quite yet. Jay is once again slowed down to 1/3 HP. Grip even committed by Killjoy. They want to ensure he cannot ascend away, and he will not ascend away. It's 3 kills in rapid succession for the Radiant team. And, well, now they might have their eyes on this top tier 2 tower.
Yeah, I think their Tiny should definitely rotate up there. I think it's a pretty free tower to take with no Night Stalker. You just use Grip for that. I think that even without Grip, the Storm not having BKB yet is enough to be able to take it, but they wait too long. The Storm, he's going to have BKB by the time Night Stalker's up, and then you got to be really scared to take a fight.
And we are still on perpetual BKB watch at this point. That's all we're looking at is when do Dire buy BKBs, and the time is coming.
I think in about 5 minutes, there are going to be 6 BKBs out on the field. With every core in the game has one in the quick buy.
That's a good game to buy BKB. Literally every game, so you might as well buy a BKB.
It is. You are correct. Dota 2 is a great game to buy BKB.
It's wholeheartedly.
If you are any hero in the game that wants to ever do anything ever. I would not be surprised if we see BKBs start to come out on even heroes like Bane or Shadow Shaman to allow them to get off their long channeled abilities.
They're not quite in the quick buy yet, but say we go to minute 40, then almost certainly we'll be seeing 8 BKBs, if not maybe even 9 BKBs.
Looks pretty dead here.
Yeah, you're right, he looks pretty dead, and it is official. We have written the death notice. Well, we will be seeing him in the obituaries for the next about 3/4 of a minute, so. Alright,
Trying to find the optimal time to lull an Ice Yeti death.
Underlord has put down the Fiend's Gate, actually, in the Dire side jungle. They're running at Pistia. Blink, Avalanche. Oh, wow, that is a lot of damage, and they still have the Underlord pit. Storm is in danger. He will BKB as Dire will focus on the Tiny. The Tiny is low. The Tiny actually is dead. Turtle is rolling, but Pistia will ball away towards the Io instead. Io tethers away as Turtle brings down Buying Onions with the swashbuckle. Back over to Jay. He slept. Cookie stunning on Underlord. Ball in by Pistia. Down goes to Io. But Grip is there on Storm. Storm is out of mana. Pit is there on 2. Down goes Pistia. They head to Jay, who will run to the left over the cliffs of that Dark Ascension, but still. Radiance. They made a mass. I think that's favorable for Radiant. That's a big trade right there.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure who that favors, to be completely honest. I think it's nice that you take away not only the Storm's first, but also second life. You do lose your Tiny, but your Pangolier is the big winner of that fight. I think he, and to be honest, Underlord too, they are both going to have their BKBs before the next fight. Pango 100 away, Underlord 120 away. So they will be able to, in theory, make space for the Tiny in the next fight and bait out some abilities, like some very nice teammates.
We have seen in general Dire have done their best to focus down the Tiny in the fight, so easier said than done. But speaking of easier said than done, Agile trying to regain control of the Tire side dry camp. He gets demolished there, oh my.
Not exactly what he signed up for. Storm snags a regen rune and is going to immediately use it to recover some of the HP loss from the Tiny Avatos combo.
Yeah, that regen, he almost died to secure it, but you know, he wants the regen rune. He's still being run at, but he's fine. Goodbye, Tier 2 Tower.
Tiny Io, a very fair and balanced ability. What is nice is that both these cores on Pango and Underlord are going to have BKB. Oh.
Alright, so we have a relocate mid-channel right now. We have lag and then the instant unpause, and we're back. Okay, we're back.
Alrighty then.
I don't know if that's good for Radiant. I think Dire got a chance to think of that one.
Yeah, definitely not a puppy pause. I don't think that favors them at all. Zexy running in.
Underlord,
Night Sucker,
but I think he's fine still.
Night Sucker just wants to Midas something.
We have Shackles on Io as Pistia balls in for the Bane. Both Io and Bane should die here, it appears. Eclipse is popped down, goes Io over to Killjoy. He's still alive. Killjoy is now dead. Dire popped their BKBs running as Zexy. His BKB cannot save him. Now it's Turtle. Shackled by Buying Onions. Pangolier drops. And that will be a 4-for-0 exchange in favor of Team Bloosher Reborn. A massive team fight win.
That was their triple BKB fight, and it goes fantastic. The Pangolier, with his 15 talent, gets in the roll and is pressing Shield Crash every 2.5 seconds, and it's not doing anything. All the 3 cores are like, nice roll, bro. We're going to kill your team. And, yeah, a little bit of an unfortunate happenstance for the Radiant team. They, certainly not what they came for.
That's one more tower at long last taken by the Dire side. They now have both the middle tier 1 and the bottom tier 1. And for the first time in literally the entire game pretty much, the net worth lead is getting back towards 0. It's not quite there yet, but there's a very clear trend of going in the downward direction towards Dire.
Yep, I think the hold on to that thought for a second. Oh, Lord's fucking
in. It's a pit on 2. Ice City will be forced to BKB. In comes the Io. Ice City will TP away, so the Radiant will run it. Agile instead, who, well, he'll juke, but it will not save his life. It will be 1 death there on the Snapfire and 1 BKB used by Ice Yeti.
I think going back to that fight in the Dire jungle, the biggest thing for me was 5 heroes who pressed their BKBs and fought, and Tiny, the only hero without BKB, wasn't really allowed to enter the fight, and so you are missing most of your BKB piercing damage is this Tiny. So when he's not allowed to join the fight, you just don't have damage to kill these heroes in BKB. Here's a smoke. Looks like Bunions is in a bit of trouble.
They know he's around there somewhere, but they don't know where exactly he is, and he'll TP away. It's a very slow TP, but it won't matter. They tried to hunt him, but it just didn't work.
Fortunately for Pango, he was trying to swashbuckle forward to get there quicker, but if you actually hit something with your swash, it will cancel your smoke. It is weird that it works for abilities like that, but not other attacking abilities. That was a weird game. And there was actually Serpent Wards, which scouted out Pango, so the Shaman knew to get out of town.
Zexy is in danger, middle lane, ball in, by Pishka into Mortimer's kisses into the void from Night Stalker. Ascension is utilized, so BQ can he possibly escape? He's just so low, and he's just so dead. Relocate brings Tiny toward the town, but Shaman is still shackling the IO right now. Roll is active, Eternal is still very low HP. Shaman dead, IO low, Jay is slept. Bane has grip, but Pishka is still a very strong man, balling towards Turtle. Turtle is trying to survive from the Roshan pit, but the entirety of Dire collapsed into it. Pangolier is silenced. He cannot escape, and now Dire want more. It's Io in severe danger. Used Tether. Tiny blinked away, so Io's life is forfeit. Grip is still up. But at this point, it's time for Bane to run. Agile will cycle the Nightmare. Jay will silence Killjoy. Killjoy, half HP, dropping rapidly. Tiny blinks in Avalanche. Is it in time? Yes, it is. Jay will get enfeebled. Eclipse is used. Grip is used. Tiny half HP. Jay is low. Jay is dead, but Tiny is turning. Agile, Ice Kitty, can they fight? Sexy responses to the fight. Bloom is dead, but he's going to get vengeance. Ice Kitty goes down, as does Pishka. Radiant turn it around. What a massive turnaround, and perhaps Team Bloosher Reborn have overstayed their welcome, going deep diving under the Radiant Tier 2 tower even.
Getting a little bit over their skis. I think they are really looking to get some cleanup kills, and this Bane is a little bit tankier than you think he would be with his +5 armor talent and his plus 300 health every time he brain saps. Getting a little bit overzealous, and it costs them heavily. With the, we finally get to see the damage that this input if he's allowed to click things in fights.
I just love this ward from the high ground. They tried to find Shaman earlier when he was juking in the trees after the smoke, and then they just find Shaman on a future attempt with this ward. I find it funny.
Yeah, that's planting the little nest egg for later, and this is where they come to collect. 0 gold investment. That's them a kill. A little bit. Oh, Radiant just put up like 3 wards. One in their one to help them get the Roach, and I think they're actually going to be able to do this with Tiny. Tiny actually doesn't have the BKB yet. Dire smoke.
They did scan. They're aware of what's going on. Mortimer's Kisses will do a lot of damage. Jay will ascend for the vision. Balling by Pisha. Aegis goes to Zexy. Shard. I'm not quite sure where it went quite yet, but Jay is gripped once again. Radiant. Focus that sucker down. In comes Pangolier. Going for Snapfire. Tiny blinks in. Slaps down Agile. And that will be the Aegis. Though not the Roche kill, going to the Radiant team on top of 2 kills. Where did the Shard go during that?
Underlord just ate it.
Okay.
His quick fingers able to pick up both. The big thing for the Dire was they didn't have the Luna. Luna spends most of their physical damage, and when your Luna, who's doing probably about half your physical damage, is not there, and your Night Stalker is probably doing another 40% of your physical damage, is gripped, where's the BKB piercing damage coming from? And this might be more than 1 lane of racks. I think if the Dire understand how strong they are with this tiny BKB Crystallis, this can get very destructive very quickly for the Dire base.
You know, Dire base certainly not healthy, and this is why we like the draft of Radiant. Is if a fight like that happens, you run it down a lane and you get the racks just so easily.
And here's the bigger thing. It's daytime, and Night Stalker used ulti in that last fight. So even though his BKB is back up, if Radiant are able to understand they have about this 40-second window where the Night Stalker is a glorified melee creep, they can definitely take a tier 3, if not more, from this top lane. But it seems they are just going to look to nurture their lead a little bit more, not play too aggressively, just so that they don't get too far over their skis like the Dire did in the top tier 2 area.
Gonna say perhaps they're learning. It's like, wait, we saw the opposing team, make a very overzealous dive. Maybe we won't do the same. We'll play conservatively. We'll wait for the right opportunity. And
They experienced how good it felt to have that happen to you. Didn't want to give the Dire team the same sense.
we're at the point now where it's base defense time to an extent. Pistia, the Storm Spirit, of course, will be the primary base defender, but there is still some space for the remainder of Dire to farm a bit. We are seeing Luna farm the Radiant side jungle. Problem is, it's base under duress. Tier 3, ooh. Tier 3 is just dead. Jay can ascend, but the barracks, they're under attack. Ball in by Pistia, looking for Zexy, but Zexy still has 2 lives. Jay will ascend. Zexy, low. Zexy will lose 1 life. Turtle, meanwhile, is rolling, stunning 3 different heroes. Dire are zoned away, and Radiant focus on the range racks. Range racks go down. Pit is there on 3. Snapfire tanks the damage. Shackles are there. Underlord Pistia. Ball ins. Jay goes in the back lines. Now, Radiant, they're no longer distracted. Zexy will Atos on the Storm, and Storm, can he escape the bash on Storm? He still balls away, though. Now Jay is on the left side of the fight. Grip comes in from Killjoy, and that will mean that Jay will perish. By Onions gets bashed as well. He too will drop, as does his carry, Ice Yeti. Triple kill for Bloom. The top Rax is dead, and the Bloosher Reborn, they know it. They call GG.
Big thing for me there was the ability to take a fight into BKBs. When all the BKBs are popped, a lot of Dire's damage is just not there. The Shaman and Snapfire can do absolutely nothing when heroes are BKB'd. And the Storm feels really bad. The Night Stalker, it actually is probably their best answer, but he got gripped. And then this Luna is just like a lot of your damage at this point in the game with your only, 2 items? You have BKB plus BKB Manta. You're mostly magic damage with that Eclipse, and the Basher on both Underlord and Pangolier, as well as the grip and the physical damage from Tiny, they just have so much better, during BKB fight. I think post BKB, when all 6 BKBs have been popped, I think the fight is a lot easier for Dire, but they just couldn't get through that phase of cores being BKB'd because, it was still, they weren't 6-second BKBs yet. It was still, that was Tiny's 9-second BKB. And so it was just so long where they couldn't sustain through it. The supports died, and then their post BKB is so much worse. So, yeah, I think, I don't know. We were a little bit wary of this Luna pick, and I think we were shown why. She's one of those carries that when BKBs are out, she feels a lot worse, and we are definitely in a 9 BKB meta where every hero that can buy a BKB is probably going to at some point. So, still, honestly, that game looked like it was in Radiant's favor, and then it looked like it was starting to go Dire's favor, and then that one overzealous dive in the top lane just costs them, maybe not the game, but it made it a lot harder for them to take further engagement.
I would take a slap, by the way, Mr. Squidward. Monsters in a slap.
Yeah, it's probably a
good idea.
Good idea. Thank you for that.
Put a capital Y for some reason, but you know what? I'm sure it's fine.
Who was your standout player that game?
It feels like it's an easy answer, but I have to go with Zexy. I just feel like he had an above average performance on his hero. Obviously, a lot of it comes down to he had a very favorable laning situation, but you see a lesser player would have just taken that lead and thrown it away like an idiot, and he didn't throw it like an idiot.
Yeah, I think what was particularly impressive to me was the way that he and his team used the Aegis, because they made the Dire use a lot of BKBs on his Aegis, and the Aegis is almost like you're never going to have BKBs after an Aegis because of the respawn timer, and so the Storm uses BKB to take down the Aegis, and just can't enter the fight because of the fear of getting pitted. It's just he has no answer. So I think his holding of BKB until after the Aegis and using his body as a meat shield has just made the fight super easy for them. And we see a respect ban because of it. First overall ban of the draft from Bloosher Revamped is the Zexy Underlord.
For me, it's one of those things where it's not too shocking. Sometimes you say, you know what, this hero's in the meta, this hero is good, they play it, they're good at playing it, they just beat us with it. Why not just go to a different meta hero instead and make them play on the top heroes that I'm sure we're also good at playing? Hey, it's Mars. Hello, Mars.
Another staple hero. I think this was, I don't know about most picked, but I am very sure he was in the top 3 most picked heroes at the major. We will see. Let me just.
You know what? I'm going to look that up. You want
Not if I look it up first.
you want picks and bans combined? Because picks and bans combined, he's number 2. Just picks, he's number 1.
Yeah.
Basically, he was like the best hero that. Basically, by that logic, he's probably the 5th hero in Dota, right? Because there's 4 heroes who get banned, then there's the Mars.
Hmm. Who is the most banned hero?
That would be
Storm Spirit?
Timbersaw.
What?
Really, Timbersaw. 13 picks, 71 bans. Really?
Are we looking at the same thing?
Is it not ESL 1 Stockholm Major 2022 powered by Intel?
That's where I'm looking. Are you looking on the Dota buff?
Yeah.
I'm looking on the Wikipedia.
I'm seeing 71 bans for Timbersaw.
Hmm.
Are you seeing 71 bans for Timbersaw?
I am not.
Are you seeing 69 bans for Storm?
Oh, I'm seeing 72 bans for Timbersaw.
How many bans do you see for Storm?
70.
Interesting. There's the 2 Phantom games.
Weird.
Apparently both Timber and Storm are banned.
Yep. Well, back into the draft, a very, very solid opening from the Dire. I mean, this opening is so flexible. It can, Grim can go in either side lane. DK can mostly be played 2 or 3, but honestly, you could probably make it work 1. Um, they pick the Abaddon, so a nice little combo breaker against the DK. I don't mind that response. I think it definitely can. It's really nice to have this sort of combo break so that they can't pick up something like a Mirana or some other hero like a Snapfire to combo off of the DK stun. But um, it it is a very one-dimensional hero.
Without one
And
dimension in this game. Because look at Dire. They already have this sort of like stun combination. You throw in a Photic Shield, you ruin their stun combination. This is a brilliant pick.
I am absolutely shocked that you support this pick. Absolutely shocked.
I think it's the right pick for Bloosher Revamped, you know?
Uh-huh.
Like if this were Chinese Dota, there'd be no question. They would 8-pick the Abaddon here. And I think Piscia drafting for Radiance is also correct in doing that.
Maybe Fish has been watching a little bit of Chinese Dota. I personally have not watched any Chinese Dota recently, but it doesn't actually surprise me. I think Abba, in my opinion, I think he is a just in a vacuum a B tier hero, but I think into this response, I think he's an A tier hero, maybe an A plus. But it's still you gotta make it work. It's not just gonna win the game automatically. You've got to be in the right spot. Um, you gotta know what you're doing. And we will see how. I assume this is gonna be buying onions on the Abaddon. We will see, or maybe Agile actually. We'll see how Agile does.
I'm excited. I mean, this is going to be a very interesting team fight game already. This from these four heroes. You know there's going to be, unless the draft just changes dramatically, there's probably going to be a good bit of team fighting going on. Some very beefy, stun-based offlaners already in the pool, assuming the CK is offlane, assuming the Mars is offlane, which, by the way, neither of which are good assumptions, but what can you do?
Yeah, we'll see. I think Jay is a pretty big Mars enthusiast. I would be a little surprised to see Pitch to take it instead. Not as sure on the Dire how they are going to lane their setup, but I think with this IO pick, you basically guarantee that it's either going to be. I think you probably want to put this Grim 4 with the DK. The only way I could see it not being that is if they were on the DK mid, they pick another offlaner with the IO, like a Slardar or something like that, to combo with it, and then put the Grim with the Pause 1 to combo with it, like a Jug or a Ricky or even a CK if it was unbanned.
That seems to be, I mean, CK's got to be one of the more banned heroes, not just in Lads, but it's in pro play in general. It's a very popular hero for a lot of different reasons.
Yeah. Very, very strong hero.
That's on top of Ice Yeti being a CK enthusiast as well, so there's a lot of reasons to ban out CK.
I would be very, very shocked if the Dire allowed Bloosher revamped to select this CK hero, knowing how strong it is and how much Ice Yeti enjoys playing it.
Because he was playing CK before CK was even remotely good. The CK was like this like dustbin hero, bottom of the barrel, and he was still playing CK.
It's crazy that the only thing they changed was that his crit does 1.5 times damage to creeps. That's the only thing they touched about the hero, and he just became first overall ban, first overall pick worthy. Dota 2, man.
Sometimes it's about realizing what's powerful and maybe you just push things. Like I remember when they kept buffing Gyro Side Gunner. And it's like eventually someone's like, hey, let's try out Gyro Side Gunner. Oh, wait, this is broken. It's extremely broken. It's this big gyro all the time. And
Yeah.
I'm sure there's some more heroes that are always like hidden in the meta that people just don't consider. And it's like, oh, this hero's suddenly broken. But you saw it with heroes like Tiny, where Tiny was not necessarily that buffed, but then suddenly it's like, oh, it's like a little bit of buffs, patch after patch, eventually Tiny's broken. Now Tiny's just here.
Yeah, I think it is. It is always interesting to try to balance Dota 2 because I think there are probably some heroes that are really strong, but they're just not in favor, and people just are not adept at using them. And that is why within a specific patch, the meta can change a lot because of people discovering exactly what's good and what isn't. So we see the Radiant, they pick up Coddle Tiny. So this Tiny does seem like a little bit of a flex. Can put it mid, can put it one. I think Yeti can play the Tiny. I don't know if he's super happy about playing the Tiny, but I think he would feel confident on it. It's not exactly what I would consider a Ice Yeti hero in the sense of like his inner comfort of heroes, but I think he will probably do just fine on it. The one thing I am noticing from Radiant's lineup is their support duo provides absolutely zero stuns, assuming this is Kala support, not Kala mid. And this Jug pick is pretty nice. I mean, you get out of Arena, your Omni Slash is nice against the Tiny, and Abaddon can't really do shit against you. And neither can Coddle. Like this seems like a really nice Jug game. I'd like to see them protect it with maybe something like, what would you protect the Juggernaut with?
It's hard to tell. I mean, what
He's
does
just
Jug
such a
really fear this game? That's my
he's
question.
such a flexible hero that like there's not like super counters to him. I don't know, maybe something like a Nature's Prophet could be annoying if they wanted to flex that around because it also leaves the draft pretty open. I do have an IO for split push. I They could also go back for something like a Night Stalker. I don't know. The draft feels weird. I don't know what Radiant's lineup needs, but I know it needs something because they're definitely missing like this oomph. And I don't know quite what the oomph is, but they're definitely missing it.
Maybe go
It's
just go
really
for something a little bit off meta. Just like makes the game centralized, like say Queen of Pain, right? Not necessarily that great of a hero scheme, but Queen of Pain will
yeah.
suddenly be on the mind of both
Yeah.
teams.
Something like that. I was thinking of like something like Faceless Void, but I couldn't really fit it into that draft. They needed something like that. Like they're, I don't know, they just are missing that thing of like that chronosphere that like I don't even know what fills that gap.
Maybe Magnus just throw in you give you the power for
Maybe,
Tiny, you throw in the RP. If this is like
maybe.
some team like Hikori, if this was Hikori playing the radio draft, they would not pick the Magnus right now. Put the Tiny
Mm.
mid, but obviously it's not Hikori, so it's hard to tell.
Don't hate like Necrophos here. It's a little weird.
Whoa!
Vector, so it's tiny mid. Interesting.
I guess Spectre was on this team's mind. I mean, it was banned out game one. Wow, that's surprising.
I
That's a
don't
greedy
know.
draft.
Can Boss Up not just pick Viper mid here and just like it's such a good Viper game?
Why not go DK mid Viper 3 then?
That could work as well. Viper IO is a very strong lane. And then that would actually justify putting the IO off lane and then you could send the Grim with the Jug. Because that's also a really strong lane.
I'm sure it's on their
Um
mind, right? I'm sure they're thinking Viper. It has to be the first thing at the top of their mind right now.
yeah.
That is not a Viper. That's a
Flash?
Leshrac.
So are they gonna run I don't know how they run their lanes. So the IO did play 4 last this Rose Gold. Rose Golden did play IO 4 last game. I'm not a huge fan of this. I think you could have done a lot more if you had picked up a different offlaner that was good with the IO and destroyed the Spectre in lane. Even something like a Slardar, even if you didn't want to go for this squishy Viper hero. But I think that, like, I don't love the way your lanes work. DK IO just seems like a waste, but we will see. Something that Lesh gives them is just they will always have overwhelming damage. Now, will they be able to use that damage? Like, will um, they not just die first to like the tiny burst, the dispersion? Like, it's the question of that, but it won't ever be like they're going on this hero and they just don't have the damage. So we will see.
I like the Dire draft. It's one of those things where after watching last game, I think they're going to have the will to force the issue. And I think just forcing the issue against this. Look at this lineup: Tiny middle, Spectre safe lane, Mars off lane, Coddle 4. These are heroes who want items, and if Dire just run it down, grab first Roshan, get map control, get second Roshan, end the game, I don't see what Radiant really do, you know?
My issue is like if Dire is pushing with DK form, Diabolic Edict, Healing Ward down in like a formation, how does Radiant penetrate that? Like, what is there to stop the Dire heroes from all clumping up? And like, even if you get like this 5-man arena, if they all sit in the arena in spin, in like Lesh just has his ult on, in the with the healing ward up, with the IO heals, like it's just it seems like the Radiant's gonna run out of damage and just not be able to kill the heroes. I think the Dire really have to identify that if they group up, they're not afraid of anything.
That's what I'm thinking as well, and I mean potentially they missed the opportunity, but after last game, I less like this draft for them. I think it makes
Mm-hmm.
sense. I still
I
would
do.
have preferred the Viper, but what can you do?
Yeah. I agree. I do have a little bit of a question on the admin side of things for the way that this league is formatted. So it is one big group,
One big
right?
group, yes.
How are the matchups? Are they going to be completely randomized? or is it going to be in a sort of RD2L sort of fashion where after these first 3 weeks, the matchups will be made in a way where like the 0 and 3 teams will play the 0 and 3 teams?
It's entirely randomized, but it's a full round robin anyway, so every team's gonna play every team eventually. It wouldn't really matter, but it will be fully randomized.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Oh no, we're
How
having
many
every
teams
team
are
play
there?
every team. It's going to take like 10 weeks, but it'll be fine.
Jeez. All right. I didn't know every team was going to play every team. I thought that some teams wouldn't play each other. Okay,
Oh
that's
god, no. I would never I would never do that with unfamiliar teams now.
yeah.
I'm not a fan of I used to do stuff already 12 with the sort of Swiss backer like that. I'm not a big fan of the way it functions in practice. It means you're relying on strength of schedule as a tiebreaker, which I'm just not a big fan of, so
Mm-hmm.
the full round robin, even though it might take more time, it's just better competitively.
I agree. Mid lane, Tiny is doing very, very well. Lesh is having a lot of trouble getting a CS.
I mean, Tiny does have 14 more damage than Leshrac throwing a Clawing Blade, and it's going to be hard to,
Oh,
yeah, let's get CS.
yeah, we'll check back later, see if it gets any better. Coddle taking a lot of damage trying to cut the wave. Or drag the wave, I should say. Seems that they're not even going to attempt to play into this Jug Grim, which probably is the right decision. That lane's super spooky. And bottom lane, it's very, very similar to last game, where instead of a aura that reduces damage, now it is just the DK blast. The good news is you do have a purge on it from the Abaddon, so we will see if Abaddon maybe just uses his W to give Spectre damage to be able to CS. But so far, Zexy is doing very, very well in the last hit department.
It is going to be a bit hard for now for Agile to do that because he has no mana regen other than that stick, but he'll do his
Oh
best, I'm
no,
sure.
Courier top.
That's a salve and a Sentry Ward. That's a pretty big courier to kill right there.
Yeah, unfortunately, the slow Courier carrying the salve is no match for the Coddle with a Windlace, who is quite speedy. And
It's a big spike in power in the top lane. Jug just got level 3. That's level 2 spin. Now it's when it becomes super deadly.
Killjoy's doing a nice job of not soaking any XP, so
Coddle's not dead here, right?
no. But maybe if Killjoy was level 2 and was able to attack move and use the slow. But it's still quite annoying. And meanwhile, mid lane, Lesh is completely recovered from that rough first wave and is now doing very, very well in last hits.
Yeah, notably, Tiny had 3 denies in the first 4 creeps, and now he's still with 3 denies. So clearly, Leshrac with the levels is being the CS a lot more easily.
Yeah, that happens sometimes where you kind of just like get into a lane and you like aren't super there yet, and you just get every creep denied. It feels pretty bad, but good to see that the Lesh has recovered from that.
This is Turtle. I mean, this is a long time amateur league player. He's played mid for a long time. He knows how to recover in a lot of these lanes, so he's ready to go.
Top lane, Finn with the Inkswell.
Not quite enough damage though. He's got Bracer. He's good.
Yeah, I think you're gonna need one more of those to kill him, and it's gonna be up in 20 seconds. So, Jay, going back to
well,
base?
though,
No,
we
just
bottom lane, Agile going down the Abaddon. Dragon Tail was used, and Abaddon was trying to distract attention away from the Spectre, and it worked, but it cost him his life.
Oh, that is not a good sign for the Radiant. Like, when this DK gets 6 and is clicking the tower, who's gonna TP in to rotate?
The answer is you don't. You let the tower die.
Yeah, is it gonna be this Tiny? Oh, Turtle gets the rune. Fisher's gonna have to toss him away to secure the next rune.
Wait a minute, Leshrac might just get the other rune as well. I mean, Lightning Storm.
He's gonna deny it.
It'll be close.
Nope. Oh, goes for damage instead. Top lane.
Yeah,
Combo
Inkswell spin
again.
combination, but Jay is still. I'm not gonna say he's healthy, but he's fine. Instead of turning on Killjoy, the Illuminate comes in. Killjoy will juke, but it might cost him his life. In the trees, salving up now as Bloom hits Jay on the side again. Somehow nobody dies. On either side, Jay does have Spear again, but Killjoy is salved back up over to bottom lane instead. Agile is low back to top lane. Luminous being channeled. I believe it missed, though, so everyone's fine. Across the map.
Yeah. Top lane not going as well for the Dyers. I think they might have held. Jug got level 3 when Jay was level just barely 2, and then Jay beat him to level 4. And is gonna beat him to level 5. Buying onions, soaking even less. Honestly, it's like I don't know why there's such an XP differential. Maybe it's in these two range creeps that haven't been harvested yet, but still, I think
big deny right there. Range creep's so important.
Yeah.
Honestly, both of us definitely range creep enthusiasts. But then again, if you play Dota 2, you're either forced to be a range creep enthusiast, or you have to dislike them but accept they're important. I mean, range creeps are just so important for the last, what, like 3 years now?
Yeah, I think you're either a range creep enthusiast or you're a psychopath. Those are the two options. How can you not enjoy these range creeps?
If the enemy keeps denying them, we can't be enjoying them that much.
Yeah,
it's literally all XP.
Which mid player is more skilled? And it's Pistia. Pistia is just simply the more skilled mid laner. That is what this 6-minute mark will tell you.
And even then, we saw the rotation from Io to secure the rune, but it still went to Pistia because, well, it was at the other rune spot.
Yeah, Pistia had harassed the Lesh low enough where the Lesh was not able to contest him top lane, so the Io rotating actually didn't do anything for the runes because Lesh couldn't contest a rune solo. We're gonna farm the stack though. We saw Bryle lose a couple times in the Flesh rack today, but Turtle is deciding that he is gonna win on it. Io might be dead here, honestly.
Pistia just short on damage. Needing one more hit there. That's still a lot of damage.
That is scary.
He wants to go in. He wants to go on the Slashrak, perhaps. Avalanche Toss is up, though Tree Toss is not. So Turtle will get away. But this T1 tower, look at the tower. There's a siege unit hitting. There's a tiny DD hitting.
I can't even tell he has DD. Like, you just look at the hero and it doesn't look like he has DD. It's barely, like, at his feet.
Yeah, actually, it blends into the cosmetic eyes, too, so it's almost impossible to tell he's a DD right now.
This is the power of the DK. The DK is completely alone and still out CSing Yeti. By a fair bit. DK Dota 2, man.
They're trying to run down the DK, but how do you harass this hero with that much regen? You just can't.
You did it, guys. You went on the DK.
He got rid of half his HP, but look at it. It's 17 per second regen. How do you deal with that? You don't.
You pat yourself on the back, say, we tried, and go. And again, we just see Pistia making the argument that he's simply just the more skilled mid laner. It's just that mid diff.
You know, sometimes you just you roll the 1 and 2 into a subsequent 1 and 2. You know, it's some sick 1 and 4 gameplay from Pistia right now.
Oh yeah,
some great stuff.
Jay's 6 here.
This is why I don't play mid. It's that exact thing that tilts me so much.
Yeah, just being outskilled by the enemy mid laner. That.
I mean, I don't mind being like genuinely outskilled. That's a fucking what can you do moments. But the runes, I'm like, man.
What do you mean?
Frog, please, I beg of you, give me the rune.
What do you mean? That's the epitome of outskilling, right?
I know
I went
joking,
mid,
but it's.
I got the 6-minute rune. I'm just better, right?
I know you're joking, but there's some dumb people who are not joking when they say that. Io dies bottom lane, immediately to the Avalanche Toss combination. Zexy, though, can TP away. Has every stun on cooldown, so good TP by Zexy. All the way to the fountain.
Of the 3 stuns Dire had, or Radiant had, they used 2 of them, and Mars was not planning on TPing, so I have a feeling we might be seeing a lot of TP out of danger in this game because of the fact that they have no stuns.
Alright, solution to the problem, they're going to buy a Hex on Coddle. I'm sure that'll happen soon, right? You can get Hex by like minute 12, right? Squid? Right?
Right. Smile?
Absolutely. If we're lucky, it'll be a minute 25 Hex, and that's if we're lucky. Probably not.
I honestly hope that Yeti has a death to an ancient stack like EE did on Spectre, because that would be the perfect moment to lull.
And you did ask for permission pregame.
I did.
You asked
I was
for
granted
permission.
permission.
It's not one of those things that you can like spam it, but you've been saving the right opportunity for it, you know.
Yeah, you can't overdo it. I think it's gotta be right. I think all the times I was thinking about doing it last game, he got 4-man ganked by a smoke, and that's not really a moment to lull at. That's like, what can you do? Like, it's just, you know. But we'll see if there's any lull-worthy deaths this game. A nice TP out from Yeti, getting out of dodge, but unfortunately, I don't think his tower is going to be able to have the same luxury. We'll see if Radiant can maybe make a move mid lane, but
It will be a tower trade.
yeah, it
tier
will be a
1
tower
middle,
trade,
4
actually.
tier 1 bottom. Both teams, of course, using that minute 10 siege unit timing. El Clasico right there. Usually you see a trade of side lane towers, though. This time it's a trade of mid lane for side lane tower.
Yeah, it's just so hard to push out this jug. And since the Lush rotated away, they use that chance. They're actually going to push for tier 2 and force out the glyph from Radiant.
TP
It's
in
probably...
by Grimstroke. It's tower defense time, apparently.
DK is TPing in as well. He went Midas. What's with Dire offlaners going Midas this game?
Arena, it's on only Killjoy. Bloom and Zexy run and Illuminate, and the last breakthrough from Mars will bring down Killjoy, but will there be a trade? Omni Slash is bouncing around. In comes a haunt from Ice King. He's immediately running away from Turtle and Rose Golden. Now, back over to Jay, TP away, back over to Agile, as will he. So somehow, someway, everybody uses every spell in the game, and the only death there is on Grimstroke. Wait, never mind, there's more Avalanche Houses there on Turtle. Turtle no longer has his IO, he's slowed by Rebuke. In comes Zexy to save his Leshrac, perhaps, but no, it is not successful. Instead, it's now Zexy in danger. Pisha is low, he'll Avalanche and toss. Zexy will die damage from the Diabolic Edict, though. The post-death kill from Turtle, and now it's Jay being doped under the tower. Spin in by Bloom, but the Avalanche will keep Jay alive. Jay instead wants to turn. He has Spear, but Zexy will stun on Jay instead, not purged by Shield. Jay is hunting for a Spear opportunity. Zexy is not giving it, perhaps, or perhaps he is. The Illuminate damage, but Zexy still be kept alive by the IO. And now, at long last, the fight will be over, I believe. 2-for-1 trade. Radiant numerically come out on top, but they do lose their tiny for it.
Yeah. Really hard to kill this DK before you get the Vessel on Coddle, and Coddle is not that close to it. Especially with the IO standing behind him. And bottom lane, Bloom and Yeti seeming to be manning up, and Yeti does not want anything to do with that. He is getting out of dodge.
What is Tiny buying this game? Let's find out. It will be the Blink Dagger first.
Yeah.
Over the top lane again, it's an arena on Dragon Knight, and this time Zexy cannot escape. He'll stun Agile, but that is his last thing he'll do before he dies. Actually, maybe not. IO is healing, but should not be enough heals. It will not be enough heals. Instead, it's IO being doped under the tower by Jay and buying onions. Illuminates will miss, but the urn is still active. It is a tether and TP away, canceled by the spear of Jay, and now there'll be another kill. Or Bloosher's reborn in the top lane. That tier 1 tower will be their spoils.
They're trying to defend this tower a little bit too much. I think the Coddle Spectre, or the Coddle...
Big play by Turtle mid lane. He's gonna solo kill Ice Yeti! And he solo killed Ice Yeti under the tower! Wow! Big stun from the trees by Turtle. Wow! I mean, Ice Yeti was low on HP, I suppose, but it's the big heads up play there by Turtle.
That felt like the moment. Felt like the moment indeed. Quite a detrimental kill, to be honest. Like, this Turtle had just come off of a death and was looking pretty rough, but now that is catapulted back to the top net worth and back into a really nice game. Meanwhile, they do have the eyes on him, though. They may have the goon spell.
Ooh, IO. Goodbye, Io. Avalanche toss. I suppose that is a gank tanked. You see, yeah, Radiant were running a Jug and Leshrac, and both Jug and Leshrac should live here. So that's a good tank gank.
Yeah. I think he might have been able to tether to the Jug, but I believe with the Coddle slow, they probably would have been able to chase him.
That's one of those accept your death moments.
Yeah. Look at vision. The Radiant has a lot of vision. See Bloom farming. Are they going to be able to stop him from getting off the spin?
It is a DD tiny, actually. He has the DD. Again, we can't see it because he's cosmetics, but still, Avalanche toss the damage, and it will be enough.
He definitely needed the Marsh for that. If he gets off the spin there, he is definitely living. Dire is actually playing pretty in the dark. They have 2 decent high ground wards, but other than that...
2-man splitter, Coddle and Tiny. Jay looks to save. Arena's there on 2, but Buying Onions is dead. Pistia is very low, and he too will get healed by Agile, but the damage from Turtle and Rose Golden is just too much. They turn to Abaddon. Borrow time on cooldown. Life now also on cooldown. Jay spears away Zexy, who wanted to run in there with no Blink Dagger, but it did not matter. Still 3 for 0 in the favor of the side of Boss Up, and they will also claim the middle tier 1 tower with Edict.
Yeah, both of the wards that Radiant had in the dark triangle just died, and now they are playing really in the dark. They have 1 ward mid, and that is all that they see, other than their creep wave. Or I guess the second ward mid.
We have a lot of coverage of this sort of area, but unfortunately there's a lot more area than that.
Unfortunately, indeed. Meanwhile, I really like the Dire's vision. They've got some nice placement. Got a little bit of Roche vision, they've got a little bit of Triangle vision, and a little bit of Jungle vision.
They're mixing it up. These are 3 entirely different quadrants of the map they have it in, so it's versatile. We're seeing Turtle run at Pistia and company. It's actually a toss on Leshrac under the tier 2 tower. Leshrac is in severe danger. Haunt in by Ice Yeti, down goes Turtle. They move to Rose Golden on Io, and Io, ooh, poor Io, instantly going to die there with that spear plus health damage, and now it's Jay and Pistia running a Killjoy. Inkswell does not stun. Jay is tossed in, he has the rebuke, he has spear in 1, and Killjoy's life will also be on cooldown now. He actually lets Pistia secure the kill. Good teamwork there by Jay.
Nice. Pistia drops the nice.
Well, of course nice, Pistia's happy. That's a kill secured
yeah,
for him.
Yeah. The thing that I do like about the Radiant strats is they have a lot of repositioning tools with the blinding light, toss back, and spear back. So we'll see if maybe if Dire pushes high ground at some point, we'll get to see them utilize that pretty well. Maybe a toss back onto the Lush here.
It's very rare for a draft to have an equal number of stuns to repositioning tools like that, but I guess you're right, yeah.
That is indeed quite weird.
If someone buys if Kyle has a 4-staff, then literally they will have more repositioning tools than stuns. Which has to be one of the rare
what you like to
Dota.
see. Yeah. Meanwhile, I mean, the Radiant is taking good fights, but Dire Cords are just out farming. Like, Lesh, Jug, and Midas DK are just better at hitting creeps than Mars, Tiny, Spectre. And I think Yeti is just having a really rough game.
Yeah, he is 6th in net worth. Not ideal.
No. And it is not an easy Spectre game. I mean,
you want to know? I see he has fear right now. He had strength. He had the strength embrace on for a long time. That's fear. That's how you know you're scared of just dying.
Do not want to die like he did mid lane. He doesn't want to get lulled again. I'm not gonna do it. One is funny. 2 is BM. That's the rule.
Speaking of Ice Yeti potentially dying, top lane,
oh, no.
He's slowed by Tether, the Edict, the Lightning Storm, the Split Earth, and well, unfortunately for you, your lull is on cooldown until the next series. Ice Yeti will die again solo.
Yep. They are responding here as top lane. I hope probably should back while Lesh farms this so you can reload them out, but it seems like they may be able to catch them both.
This arena on two, but the spear is missed by Jay. Will it matter? Illuminate a lot of damage to Io will relocate, and it will get the Shrek away.
I think Lesh could have killed Jay there, honestly, if they had left the Lesh. But there's no way they bring the Lesh back, right? They're not going to fight this?
But they're fighting this! Oh no! I mean, this is going to be potentially bad. Zexy has arrived, but the entirety of the Radiant are here. Turtle gets demolished, and now they turn to the IO. Soulbind is there on Abaddon and Coddle. Abaddon has no borrow time, but it is on Cool to do, man. 8 some of the spears there on Rose Golden. Rose Golden is dead. In comes Killjoy. In comes everyone to fight, but Killjoy down. Zexy down. Radiant, they had the miracle advantage, and Agile actually dies to the corrosive breath damage, but it's still a very good fight for the side of Bloosher Reborn.
I can't believe they fought that.
Not gonna lie, but you know, sometimes you I was gonna say the reason why they relocated the Leshrac away if they didn't see Tiny. Then they fought, still not seeing Tiny.
I don't know.
What can you do?
I think maybe they thought their DK and Grim were closer. Like, if DK and Grim are there when they reload back, I get it. But DK and Grim were still, I don't know if you can see this drawing, they were still right here when the reload came back. So the Tiny was able to press a bunch of spells on them. And they, like, the DK and Grim were there after Lesh died. Lesh was already dead before they showed up with the Soulbind and the DK stun. So it just, a little bit of a misjudgment. We'll see if that costs them. Because it hasn't cost them their network lead.
It is very
in the sense that
it's only 1k.
Well, network lead in the sense that all 3 cores are above all 3 cores.
One more lost fight though, and that will immediately change.
Yeah.
Let's look over at our good old buddy, good old friend Roshan, and yep, we're seeing pings from both teams in the Roshan pit. They know it's Roshan time. Has not died yet in game 2 quite yet, but it's going to happen soon, I'm sure.
Not super great Roche taking. I guess they're both, like, okay at it. Like, they have damage for it with Juglesh and with Spectre Desolate, but it's not amazing.
Seeing Dragonform used top lane by Zexy as the remainder of Dire try to dive Pistia in the bottom lane, but it does not work. Pistia blinks away and jukes away. Perhaps the initiation was blown there due to the, I don't know why they would do it, but there was a tip going out from Pistia, which is essentially a blown initiation.
I think Dire just needs to force something as 5. I think they're so much stronger if they're as 5, and them splitting up is really just detrimental to their game.
And they have forced middle lane. They saw Coddle and Abaddon. They kill the former, but not the latter, though they do get the borrow timeout. And well, with one down, it's our time to see Roshan die. R.I.P. Roshan. Radiant might contest it, but Roshan is still out for life. Jay blinks in spears on Killjoy. Killjoy, big solo kill from Jay. Dire want vengeance. Blink, Dragon Tail, spin. That'll do it. They move to Agile, who tried to save Jay, but well, it's borrowed time on cooldown. Now life also on cooldown. 3 dead on the Radiant team means it'll be a very free Roshan for the Dire now.
And Dire has such a nice death ball. I'm glad that they're almost, by the nature of this Roche, forced to group. I think that it would be quite the mistake if they did not group right now. I think this is their timing.
And it is time to go. I mean, Spectre still really does not have farm, but Leshrac's ready to go. DK has Dragon Farm, of course. Doug has enough items. It's time to, at the very least, grab some tier 2 towers and get more map control.
Yeah, I think you want to take towers as soon as possible. Don't give the Spectre any time.
Another blink away by Pistia. Dire ran at him, but he blinked away again from danger, so... We do have an idea, though, where Dire looking at. They're looking at that bottom 2-2 tower.
Mm-hmm.
You mentioning about BKBs?
Yeah, maybe the timing they're waiting for is this right here. It's 100. They also have Bloom Mjolnir flying out. I think this is their go time. I don't know what. And they also have Kaya Sanj finished on Lush if he wants to fly it out.
See Agile and Killjoy in the 1v1. Agile has borrowed time, but has a lot of dire side heroes. Arena comes in, will be there on 2, but Turtle does have BKB. Haunt comes in. Zexy, she dies mid lane to a tiny combination. Now it's Agile dead as well, but it's Jay being run at. Jay will die to the Pulse Nova, and Turtle wants more kills. He sees Ice Yeti. He sees Ba Youngins. Both of them are a good distance away, so it will be a 2-for-1 trade. Dragon Knight, that's a big death there, but it seems like Dire still want to commit to this bottom tier 2 tower.
Oh, they have the Vessel, that's how they killed him. I was wondering how they were able to get through the DK, but with the Vessel completed on Lancatl, they're able to do that. And that feels bad. He had his BKB in his stash, but Dire does get to tier 2. And I like that there was 4. I honestly wouldn't even hate if they just went high ground here. Your DK is going to TP to the outpost. You still have Aegis. Like, yeah, just go, Lesh. Like, there's absolutely nothing that is stopping you guys.
Dragon Knight is
Lesh,
alive. He's TPing the outpost, and perhaps they're ready to go again.
this is a really nice ward. That'll make that push so much easier.
That's a lot of vision. Even the tiny right now. That's scary. We do have a blink toss play if they want to do it. Spear is on Zexy's Dragon Knight again. He can BKB. He will BKB. It's stun there on Pishka. In comes the Omni Slash. Down goes the Tiny. He'll buy it back immediately. Radiant Glyph for damage. Turtle will lose Aegis. And now, can they save the Shrek again? Jay had Blink Spear, but did not want to use it quite yet. Bloom leads the way. In come all 3 Dire Cores.
What I'm talking about.
Brings Zexy back.
With the healing ward down, they just are... Agile has to suicide in to get the healing ward.
Borrow time down, but the tower remains alive. Inkswell is to stun Agile. Abaddon's in danger. In comes Pishka. Avalanche toss there on Zexy. Zexy is slow, but he's still alive. The tower, the damage, is it enough? No, it's not! Instead, Radiant are collapsing. Pishka dead. Agile dead. Dragon Knight just alive. They cannot kill that man. Illuminates will not hit. Range racks down. Jay will arena, but it's perhaps too late. Turtle is standing ground. Dragon Tail stun. Inkswell does not get completed because actually Zexy dies, but it's still Jay in the grave. 3 dead on the Radiant side. Jay does have his buyback, but Pishka cannot. That will be a full set of barracks, a bottom lane, and now Dire will leave.
I think this is a mistake from Bloom to not go the healing ward cooldown, but they are still able to push. I think it would just make it so much easier if they had the healing ward at 50% uptime instead of 30%.
He likes the spin.
Yeah, I mean, that sounds really attractive.
He doesn't have Shard? I was gonna say, I thought he had. If he had Shard, I guess he's buying it now, but.
Yeah. Pushing mid. Why isn't Lesh with him? I guess they're gonna reload him Lesh in or something?
I don't know. I mean, he's not there. He's just. I mean, they're having some fountain adventures, you know. Leshrac, Io, Dragon Knight, they're all beating in the fountain. And there we go. Relocate bottom lane for Ice Yeti. But Ice Yeti has teammates nearby. They'll force him away, now shielding him. Turtle is very deep in the base. Jay is being run up by a BKB Bloodstone Leshrac, and well, he'll survive. The avalanche toss into the fountain almost. Turtle tanks a few fountain shots. Soulbind arrives. Haunt is in, but Turtle is out. And now it's Radiant looking for more kills. They see Killjoy, the easiest of the targets. Blinding Light, Spectral Dagger, another death. It is only 2 kills. That is a big sign of life there for the side of Bloosher Reborn.
I'm not sure what... I think Lesh might have thought he was going to get relocated out, and Io thought Lesh wanted to be in. Little bit of miscommunication there, because if Lesh asked to be left there, that was absolutely psycho. Your BKB's out, you're under their fountain.
Dragon Tail, Omni Slash, Jay. Still alive for now, but not for much longer. That will be a big kill there, and this time he has no buyback.
Maybe you get Bunions with a Blink DK stun?
Instead, they're running at Pishka with the Jug and the Io, so Dire are splitting their attention. Blink in by Zexy sees Agile, but it seems like there will be no more kills there.
They're just planning to take the last outer tower. It'd be nice if Lesh could relocate back to base to grab the Lesh. But, seems that Lesh is just going to TP bottom outpost. He might even go on the Spectre and they might reload onto him. That would probably be what I would guess is going to happen.
Ice Yeti is in a bit of danger. Lightning Storm, Spin, Split Earth. Yep, that'll do it. One more death on Ice Yeti, and he is just still... He's getting some
Okay.
farm, but he's still very poor.
BKB used middle lane. I think Sexy thought they might have been looking to go on him, but I mean now you don't even have the Manta Illusions to try to hit this healing ward. There's just no stopping this this death ball. Protect your healing ward, my friend.
I mean, okay, I guess healing ward dead and Abaddon's still fine. Okay.
Did use his ulti though. So
Avalanche toss there on Killjoy.
Oh.
Killjoy immediately gets killed in the back lines. Dire now run at Pistia. They want vengeance for Grimstroke. Pistia is fine. Now Zexy is very slowed and Jay is running in. Blink up into Arena off cooldown. He is ready to go. Big Arena perhaps in the works, but perhaps not. The Blink's again canceled. Arena is still available. In comes Pistia. Avalanche there on to Io. The target Arena's there on 3 heroes. Bloom spins inside of it, but Pistia is just dead. Now it's Agile on the run. He has no borrowed time, and the pause. The pause comes out. He's saying lag. A very inopportune time.
They want to press that? Check that?
I am checking it right now. I am seeing 0 loss for Turtle. 73 ping, 0 loss.
Oh.
But we are seeing a return to the action. Agile will go down, unsurprisingly. Borrow time was still on cooldown at the pause, so now it's back from Abaddon.
I think even if that was not intended as BM, I doubt that the Radiant will take it that way. What can you do? Inopportune time for a pause.
And he was lagging game 1, so perhaps there is some plausible deniability. And it was at a time which pausing was bad for his team, unlike this time where it was more bad managed than bad for his team.
Yeah, pausing right there, it doesn't change the game, the outcome of the game at all. It's at least from a physical standpoint. Maybe from a mental standpoint, a little bit of a BM might change how the Radiant team plays, but you know, shit happens.
Well, it is time to run down the top lane. They had middle open, but they want top instead. Tiny will be alive in 10, so perhaps there's one more defense in the works for Bloosher Reborn.
I think they should just continue. I don't think they should wait around. Although the downside of that is if you mess up the fight really badly and are not confident enough in your execution, then you give them a super big opening because they kill you and then take Roche. But honestly, I don't think you care.
Less than a minute now. I'm not sure if they know it's going to be that early. Of course, they don't know it's going to be that early, but
yeah,
they're waiting.
I don't know. I think you just you're so much stronger. They can't do shit to you. This Tiny has no BKB. He's not allowed to exit the fight. He can come, but he can't leave. So it's just ugh. I think they need to go within the next 2 or 3 minutes. So maybe you just take the Roche and go, but you don't want to give them time.
We're not really farming too much of the map, though. I mean, you see 4 of the Radiant heroes standing in a small circle, and then Ice Yeti pushing out the Megas lane bottom. Direction the Super Creeps lane bottom, but you know what I mean by that.
I do.
Meanwhile, the Dire just farming, well, the remainder of the map. You see Radiant in this little, like bottom left 1/9 of the map. Well, Dire farming the other 8/9 of the map. So there's a lot of room for Dire to grow their net worthy before they Roshan. And Roshan is alive. Killjoy has scouted, so if they want to go in now, they can go in now.
Bloom blocks the Ancient Camp. I don't think that was intentional. I think he wanted to farm that Ancient Camp.
What can you do?
Indeed.
Instead of farming the Ancient Stoic, you will add a Roshan to his farm rotation. Very large creep, larger than Ancients even.
Yeah, the Arteezy farming pattern, you know. What do you think they're going to give this shard to?
He doesn't have shard right now on the Dire team. It's just Leshrac.
Literally just Lesh. All right,
okay,
that is
the answer
such a... Great question, Squid. Really thought-provoking.
You know, it provokes some thoughts. Not very deep thoughts, but thoughts nonetheless.
That was a no-brainer, if you will. Dire Radiant are smoking out. They just took Roche. I doubt anyone's going to be in their jungle, but at least they're getting some sort of control on the map. Coddle's allowed to go to the enemy secret shop to pick up his Aetherlands, and then they have to go right back to base.
It
Although I
is
don't
a
know if there
DD
is any
jug.
defending.
It's gonna be hard.
Healing Ward is up. I hope he protects us a little bit more than the last one, where he just let out kind of walk in and kill it.
T3 tower dead, Ranger Axe under duress, DD still a bit duration, and I believe he'll be alive for long enough for the entirety of the top racks. So now it's middle on the mind, of course, for the side of boss up. The T3 is very injured, and Bloom has a lot of tools to work with still. T3 dead. Pishkill wants to jump. Agile will lose his borrowed time. In comes Yeti looking for Killjoy in the backlands, and Killjoy will die. Rita comes in on all 4 remaining heroes. In comes the Avalanche. They're on 2. The damage, it might be enough. Iowa's dead. Agile is the trade. Can Pishkill man fight? No, he's stunned. The BKB heroes are just running down the Tiny and killing him. In comes the real Omni Slash, running at Jay, but instead only hits creeps. Can they get the jug? He's half HP. Problem is, his teammates are trying to back him up. They're very low. Dragon Knight low. Radiant low. Jay dead. Zexy dead. Ice City dead. Now it's Pistia finally going down to Turtle on the north side of the fight. Spear is there on Bloom, but Bloom is just unkillable. The Aegis will be lost, but he has one more life to work with. Jay is forced away by Buying Onions, saving him from Turtle. But at this point, you cannot save the barracks. It will be Megas and it will be a GG call.
Really nice showing from Boss Up. I think they... Honestly, I think they outdrafted Team Bloosher both games. I think it was just both drafts seemed to be really easy to play. Like they have this sort of, in this game, this death ball with this IO, Healing Ward, DK, and then tower taking of the Edict plus Jug with Spin, and it's just Dire or Radiant didn't have any penetrating heroes. Like they just had this Coddle Abba, which are kind of bleh heroes. They don't change the tide of the fight that much. Sure, they provide healing, but Dire had more than enough damage. Like Dire, Lesh did 50k damage. Didn't matter that you were tanky. The Lesh was just able to cut through everybody, and yeah, it's just. And then in game 1, I think it was kind of a similar story with the IO Pango, or IO, and then Underlord with his damage reduction, Pango with his damage reduction, Tiny with his super tankiness. They just ran out of damage both games.
I know, in terms of like going beyond the series more into perception, I know a lot of teams and a lot of players thought that this Bloosher revamp team might be a very good team. I know a lot of people probably thought they might have won the series today. They ended up losing 0-2 though. Is it time to panic, or it's more just revamp your drafts and approach Dodo differently?
I think that they. I mean, first series, panicking. I think they find sort of identity. It kind of seemed like what's up, knew what their hero, knew what their style was. I mean, they were heroes,
Oh
both
god. Your mic is
with.
lagging heavily, by the way.
Okay, one sec.
Let's try it again. Is that better? I'm getting nothing. So I guess I guess that'll be a note to end it on.
Hello? Any better?
It's better, but it's not great still, I don't think.
No.
We're going to wrap it up then in that case. Thank you, of course,
Yeah.
for joining us, Squid. Do you have any final words, any calls, any shouts to say to the people of League of Lads?
Jax. As always. As always.
But if you want to see more of me, I will be back on Tuesday night with the one and only Logical Dota for some DPC Open Qualifier casting, where we'll be seeing a number of players play, NA DPC hopefuls, including players from League of Lads like ColonelSquid, will be playing, of course, in the upcoming DPC quals. I look forward to casting those on Tuesday and Wednesday. Hopefully, some Lads players can make it out at least the close qualifiers, but if not, then what can you do? We came close. Actually, we got some players in the close qualifiers last season, so you never know. And for now, if you want me to cast your games, cast your tournaments, contact me on Discord or on Twitter. Discord, Badger5713, or Twitter, twitter.com/BadgerDota2. Me and Logical are ready to be hired for the upcoming DPC tour if you are in charge of that. You can upgrade your casting overnight if you want to do that, of course, but if not, then we'll be there, I guess. For now, though, thank you for watching. Thanks to Squid again for coming on, and as always, have a great night.